Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. My name is Sarah and I'm married to Mark and we have 8 kids at home, 10 kids total. Busy life. But the video that I'm going to do today, sorry, my camera's doing something weird. The video that I'm going to do today, I just wanted to talk about a couple things that we do in our marriage that are a little different than most people would do. And you can add down below if you have things that might look different to other people that are a way to keep your marriage close and to keep certain disagreements out of your marriage. I am not saying that this keeps a marriage from having no disagreements, discussions, arguments, whatever you want to call them, away, but these are ways that we have found to safeguard our relationship with each other and to make it so that we aren't always fighting about certain things. So one of these things is that we have total access, both of us have total access to the money in our house. My husband is the one who runs, pays the bills. We don't have a ton of bills to pay, but he's the one who, will look at the bank account and then will write the checks for the bills and stuff like that. And actually, we have two of our older children who actually do that with him because we're trying to teach them about budgeting. And so we have them do that. So we know what our monthly bills are, like our rent and our, there's a lot of birds in our yard right now, like our rent and our phone bill and our car insurance, all those things. We know what those things are. I have a personal budget for our food, but I don't take it out. I know some people who take it out in like a cash system, and that's easier for them to determine what they do. I either keep a list on my phone of here's June 1st I went shopping and here's how much I spent, and then June 7th I went shopping and here's how much I spent, or I just kind of keep a running total in my head. We are not on such a strict budget that I can't go over my number. So we as a family have recently raised our budget to $1,200 a month, which is that's for everybody who's eating in our household right now on a regular basis. Because my mom eats with us a lot. I don't know that I'm going to need the whole 1,200. It just this would be my first month of doing that. So we will see. But Mark wanted to give me a little more wiggle room because we're trying to make some changes for our family. So it's 1,200 if my mom eats with us. It's 100 a person if my mom ate every meal with us, which she doesn't. So more like 100, I haven't done the math, 110 a person. If she's not eating with us, because Mark's mom now lives here and the baby's now eating. So we have 11 eaters at every meal. So, I don't have a budget for that. That comes just out of I do have a budget. I don't have separate money for that. It just comes out of our bank account. Because we use a credit card every month. And then at the end of the month, we pay the credit card off in full. So I know what that number is supposed to be. I keep it at that. And if I had to make a bigger purchase for whatever reason, hey, Mark, I just realized we are totally out of the wheat berries we've been buying, I would just let him know that it was going to be more this month. But I'm not so strict that I can't. She forgot I was in here. I'm not so strict that I can't go over by a little bit if that were the case. We have lived times in our life where I have $100 for the week and I don't have the room to go over that. But if we're going to make other purchases, we discuss them with each other. We had a child right now who needed some new clothes. So we get a lot of hand-me-downs and stuff, and we buy clothes for the kids throughout the year when they need them. We don't say, oh, it's springtime, we need to buy clothes for spring, or we need school clothes because we homeschool. So it just depends on when kids either grow out of the size or I just realize, oh, their clothes are all getting holes in them because they're little boys and they play. So a kid recently needed new clothes. So I just said to Mark, I need to buy some new clothes for this child. I'm going to be buying new clothes. It wasn't so much what budget do you want me to put on there? Because I kind of know in my head what we have in the account because I have access to it. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Having access to knowing what's going on, because there are families where, or there's couples where money is always a fight because either one of them is a huge spender and the other one is a saver, and there's fighting about how much is getting spent on different items. Or people have separate money. So this happens a lot in families where both husband and wife work. So the husband pays the rent and the car insurance, and the wife's responsible for her phone bill and the electricity or whatever it is. And it just becomes a fight of, this is your money, this is my money. And we don't have that in our house because we just have it all together. If I were to go out and spend $20 for whatever reason, Mark would have no questions about it. If I were to go out and spend $300, then we might have a discussion, but we just tend to have those discussions together. So one thing that we're going to be getting in the near future probably is a printer. Our printer's not working. I have a couple more things I'm going to try, but we'll be getting a printer. And so I will discuss with him before I purchase the printer, because it's a bigger purchase, and we don't have the money in such a way that we just frivolously like, oh, I'm going to go make this big purchase. We talk about the big purchases. Do we need that right now? Do we want to save up for that instead? Because there's things that like, I don't need to buy winter clothes for the kids right now. But if I know kids are going to need winter boots, I could start saving up a little bit each month, and then it wouldn't affect that month's total later on in the same way. But because we both have access. One way I've seen people do this, which I think could be a very good way, would be both people get an allowance, play money, whatever you want to call it, where this would be more like when Mark was working. Now we kind of go almost every place together. So if I need to make a purchase, he's there and we don't have this problem. But let's say that he was working and I was home all the time. Well, if I had $100 allowance for the month, or $25 allowance for the month, or whatever it is, then if I'm out with the kids and I decide, hey, let's go grab a pizza, I wouldn't have to think, is that in the budget? Do we have enough for that? I would just use my money for it. Or he could do the same thing. He could say, hey, I was on my way home and I decided to stop and grab everyone, a dozen donuts. Or just money for ourselves I was really looking for a new pair of shoes, and the $20 pair of shoes would have been fine, but I really want the $40 pair of shoes, and I don't have to feel like I'm trying to justify what I'm doing because I would have some money that I can use. I know some people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, that's really harsh. If the husband's working, then the wife should have access to the money and all of that. I agree with all of that. But there's a lot of times that money becomes a fight because I want to do something one way, he wants to do something a different way, and we buck heads about it. In our family and in what we believe the Bible teaches, the husband is the head of the family, and so he would end up making the final decision on things. But we talk about these purchases. If he says, hey, I think we need a new car, okay, we talk about the pros, we talk about the cons. Do we want to put money out for a car payment right now? And for us, we would say no, because we are out of debt and we want to stay out of debt. But for another family, that might be different. So we just discuss those things. We both have access to the money. We discuss these things, and it's not one person lording it over the other or using it to create fights. It's just everyone being informed and making decisions together. Because sometimes I'll say, hey, Mark, I really think we need a new whatever. And Mark will be like, oh, well, we have this thing downstairs that would suffice for right now, and we can wait to make that big payment till later. Or I start using the other item and I'm like, oh, this actually works. I don't need something different. I'm not saying like, he's making me not use running water so I can go grab the water, like not that type of thing. Just things like, oh, I was going to get a pretty basket for this area. And he's like, oh, we have this thing downstairs. Let's use it for now. And then I'm like, oh, that really works. I don't need the more expensive thing because I have this thing that actually works. So that type of idea. A lot of times when we start having the discussion, we realize there's something else we can use for the short interim period. So that's one. Number one is we keep our money accessible to each other. Number two is we keep our phones accessible to each other. So Mark is allowed to pick up my phone at any time and look at any message that I've written, and I have no problem with it. So this is good for a number of reasons. One, accountability in if somebody is having like an affair. I do not worry about Mark, but I know it's a thing that husbands and wives deal with a lot. And so I don't mind him picking up my phone and looking at what's going on it. I have no problem with that. It also keeps you accountable to what you are saying. Of course, people are accountable to what they're saying on Facebook if their spouse has Facebook or Instagram or one of those things. But also in my private messages. If I'm chatting with a friend, am I saying things about Mark that I wouldn't want him knowing that I said? And if I am, it's probably because it's gossipy and things that I shouldn't be saying anyway. So it keeps me accountable, and I'm assuming for him, same way. I can pick up his phone at any time and look at any message, and neither of us are like, hey, why do you have my phone? We're just very much open with our phone conversations. We do honor each other's, I don't know that's the right word. We honor other people's privacy if Mark were to say, I'm having an important discussion with Bob, please don't read those messages. I do honor the privacy in that because I know that sometimes there are discussions being had with somebody that are not my business. But he also knows that if I suspected him of something, I would look through messages. So I guess that's how it goes. We also are free to pick up the other person's phone. Like if we hear the phone ding, like go, make the noise. We will look at each other's messages occasionally because sometimes you're waiting for someone to write you back about something or whatever. But again, if I know that there's a specific person he's having a discussion with, I won't read the message necessarily. I'll be like, oh, Bob wrote to you. Would you like to answer that now or later? So that's one way to just keep us accountable with each other's messages and things. Last one that I'm going to mention today is we don't have private discussions with people of the opposite gender. This helps with just the, what's it called? Like not making things look evil. I can't think of what word I'm trying to use. I'm sorry. It's been a long morning already. Avoiding the appearance of evil. There we go. So I do not have private discussions. So let's say we have a mutual friend, Ralph, who wants to ask me a question because we were talking about pretzels the other day. So Ralph writes me a private message on my phone. I would tell Mark, Ralph wrote me a message. He's asking about pretzels, and I would add Mark to our text group. Not that Mark would even pay attention to what's going on in the text group, but then Mark knows that Ralph and I are talking, and we all hold each other accountable. There are people that write to myself or to Mark of the opposite gender because they're asking a question that really I can answer better. Let's say we knew a single dad who wanted to homeschool. Mark would probably leave the questions to me, but I would have Mark in the group so that we could all be accountable, and not so much that Mark doesn't trust me, but there's a lot of people in this world who have ill intentions. And so especially because we have this YouTube channel, we have people that we don't really know write to us on a regular basis asking us questions. And this way we can make sure that if the person knows that your spouse is also in the conversation, they're less likely to start other conversations going on. And so for most of you guys, like most of you people that watch this, if you are in a group with Mark and I, you're in a, like, if you're of the opposite gender, we have the other spouse. There are a few people who have an exception because there was a message written and then we accidentally write on the wrong things. But again, I can pick up Mark's phone and I can say, oh, look, he was writing to Susie. Oh, Susie was asking directions to our house because they were coming over, that type of thing. This also applies to our children. Our only child in the home right now that has a phone and access to that is Naomi. She is 18. This still counts for her, and it counted for Virginia when she was home. If she was talking to a boy or man via messages, we would be part of the group. And I regularly check her messenger too. She knows that at any point I might pick up her phone and look at it. So Naomi has a few men and boys that she witnesses to through different things that she has found them in a group or whatever. And I'm part of those discussions. And I don't read every message. She has a couple, 2 young men in a group that's with me and her, and they are discussing whether salvation is based on your works or whether it's just salvation through grace, through the blood of Jesus. They're having that discussion. And so they write back and forth on a regular basis. I look at it once in a while, but I don't read every message, everything back and forth. Her and I discuss what's been said. She'll bring up like, oh, they were saying this and I countered with this, but I don't read every message because I don't have time for that. But I do know that I have access to it and I check up on it sometimes. So that's how it works in our house. So if you are a woman who has a question for Mark, know that I'll be added. If you're a guy who has a question for me, know that Mark will be added. And if you write to Naomi, and you're a guy, she's gonna add us to the group. It helps keep everybody in the house accountable. And this world is a crazy place. And especially when we're writing to people that we do not know well, we wanna make sure that everybody is safe and that they're not possibly getting scammed out of money, that they are not allowing their feelings to be spread to all the people on the internet that they're talking to, and that people aren't putting some crazy notion in their head of something that our family doesn't believe in. So that's how we do things to keep our family safeguarded and our marriage safeguarded. So if you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down below. We'll see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.